सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति Shantihi. May the Lord protect us, may He nourish us, may we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant and may we not cavil at each other. Oh, peace, peace, peace unto us all.
Sai Ram, dear brothers and sisters, welcome to Sri Satya Sai Center of Arcadia. We wish the Sai in each and every one of us a very happy birthday. We have a special program tonight for our beloved Swami's 96th birthday. We have a guest speaker, Dr. Padma Shri Ravindra, who is the National YA Coordinator. Let me read her bio and then I'll hand it over to her. Dr. Padma Shri was born into a Sai family in India and experienced a strong Sai connection as she participated in several service initiatives as part of Mahila Women Youth Group in Bangalore, and there has been no looking back. In 2008, she moved to Raleigh, North Carolina for graduate school and had the opportunity to serve as the Center Young Adult Representative. After moving to Seattle with her husband Suresh, she served in various center and regional officer roles in Region 6. She is a graduate of the 2017 Sri Satya Sai International Leadership Program and currently serves as the USA National Young Adult Female Coordinator. She feels very fortunate and blessed to be part of his work. Padma Shri and her husband enjoy nature and gardening together. Professionally, she holds a PhD degree in computer science and works as a software engineer at Microsoft. Let us please welcome Sister Padma Shri.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our dearest Swami, who resides in us and who is always there guiding and guarding. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity today to cherish some of my moments in my journey as a Sai young adult in the US and share these moments with you all. Loving Sai Rams to our respected elders, Dr. Reddy, uncles and aunties, my dear young adults and SSC children, thank you for joining today on this joyous occasion of our beloved Swami's 96th birthday celebrations. Just starting off, sharing my journey. It started in August of 2008 when I landed in Raleigh to do a master's in computer science at the NC State University. It was a new city, a new country, the first time that I was away from my family and friends. I didn't know what to expect. And I almost questioned whether this was a wise decision. I asked Swami if this was the right thing to do because I had a job back in India. My family was there. Everything seemed settled. And this seemed like a new adventure. Little did I know that this journey actually would let me experience so much of love and care from the Sai community here, the Sai family in Raleigh. And as the days went by, there was so much warmth that I felt here, though I was away from home. There were small little things that I'm sure all of you can relate to when you go to a new city. Sai community or the family, Sai family becomes your family. With little things like getting a ride to the Sai Center, to a service project, or when these akkas and annas in the center pack extra food to-go boxes so that you don't have to cook food, or an invitation to just come and have tea or snacks on a weekend, or some hot breakfast that is prepared with so much love and warmth. This was also the first time that I felt Swami's presence far away, miles away. I might have been away from home, but not away from Sai. Swami always says, I will protect you like the eyelids protect the eyes. And this was really true in my case. Just being surrounded by so much love and warmth and the welcome that I received here when I came. And this was just the beginning of the journey. There was so much more in store for me. And I'm really grateful that I had this experience and I'm getting to share with you all. And incidentally, this week, I am in Raleigh, so it's all the more precious and special for me to recollect all these memories and really cherish them with you today. So in 2009, I heard about the first National Young Adult Conference. As I was a master's student, I had come on an education loan, and I did have an on-campus job, but I was just making enough for my apartment rent. I really wanted to attend this conference, but I knew that there would be some expenses for travel, and there was a small registration fee, which at that time was still a lot for me. So I told Swami that I would like to attend it, and I made a deal with him that if I would get an internship, then I would definitely be able to afford the travel as well as the fee and the conference fee, and I would like to attend it. So soon enough, I did get an internship in New York, and I was able to book my tickets to Chicago, and I ended up in this conference. It was just a small desire that I wanted to be part of this conference. But in the morning session, when I sat in this hall with so many young adults, I could feel the energy, the enthusiasm, and most importantly, the love for Swami. It just felt like Prashanti Nilayam. And when the Ganesha Bhajan started and I closed my eyes, there was this sudden realization from within. Very strongly, I felt that I was not here to do a master's in computer science, and that this was part of a bigger plan that Swami had for me. I didn't know what that plan was, but that realization was enough for me to know that there is a plan, that there is his plan, and I just need to wait for it to unfold. That moment, I think, changed the way I thought about things. After that, there was a switch, because I knew that there must be something that Swami wants me to learn here in the US. And a lot of things happened after that. Right after that conference, I came back and I became the young adult representative for the Raleigh Sai Center. There was a lot of learning that came after that, just being part of the center and the activities. And one of the things that also happened was one of the brothers in the center, who was the SSC coordinator, he kindly nudged me and told me that, there's going to be this SSC training, and why don't you be part of it? And I came up with excuses. I said, I don't even have a car. I don't think I can make this weekly commitment. I'm sure a lot of young adults might relate to this. So I told him that, I may not be able to do this. And he said, don't worry, just come be part of the training and we can work out the logistics after that. So I went along with another young adult and attended the training. And there was no looking back, because I really enjoyed the experience. And I knew that this was not about me teaching SSC kids or, coming and preparing a lesson plan and just for the class. But I knew that there was so much learning in it for me, because the time that I spent in preparing the classes and trying to understand Swami's message, each time it was such a beautiful experience, a reflection on what is it that he would like me to do. And the enthusiasm and the excitement of, when Swami gives you an idea and it was not your idea and it was his idea, and you're excited to put it together in a lesson plan and come to the class and prepare for it. I thoroughly enjoyed that experience as well. So through these experiences, little by little, it really helped me open a bit of my thinking, my thought process, and really understand a little bit more of what happens here in the US, in the community. And one other opportunity which was similar was a medical camp that happened in Raleigh. So it was one of the summers, and usually in the summers we take a break for SSE. So I was all prepared to just stay. I was thinking in my head that I'll probably like miss the Sunday bhajans, because I can use that time to actually work on my research paper, because I had switched to a PhD program. I knew in my head that that was an excuse, because it would just take 2 hours for me to go to the center and I can come back refreshed. And as I was having this internal debate, one of the brothers from the center, he called me and he said that they are preparing for this medical camp, and they're going to start having these planning sessions for that. And he didn't even give me a choice. He just told me what time I need to be there. I didn't really know how I could contribute, because I was very new to the US. I had volunteered in a couple of medical camps in India, but I knew that things here were very different. Anyway, I thought this Swami had caught me here with my monkey mind and excuses. So I decided to go to the center. And it was weird, because in these meetings, I used to be the only young adult, and there used to be a lot of elders who were very experienced, and they had done a lot of large-scale projects and medical camps and different things. And so I sat there week after week, just trying to understand and just listen, because there was just so much that I didn't know about how things are done here, the logistical aspects of it. And very importantly, even things like, how do you talk about the organization or Swami and his teachings with external organizations, to churches where you want to probably host a project? How do you take Swami's message and talk about how we are not a religious organization and how we are a spiritual organization? What is the difference? So these were all small things that I learned along the way. And also about what kind of facilities can be provided, things like Medicaid and Medicare, what's the difference between those, and how do these things come together? I know in Region 8 in California, a lot of these medical camps happen, and so a lot of you might be aware about this. But for me, it was a very new thing at that time, and I was looking at each opportunity to learn and understand really how things are done here, including the thought process of having Spanish translators and reaching out to the Spanish community to make sure that those in need really get the help that is required. So this again for me was another way in which Swami gently nudged to be part of something where it expands my heart and mind and opens up my thinking to really understand how to serve the community that you live in. And the beauty of this whole thing was, me sitting there, there was just so much wisdom in the room. And I got to learn from really how the members came together to collaborate such a huge event that happened there. And when I look back, I think that whole experience was really critical, because usually when we plan some events, we tend to get busy. Everybody has limited time. So it's usually do, and you get together and, you plan what is the next thing that needs to get done, and you set some deadlines and you get done with it. But it was because that brother took that moment to actually involve me. And there was so much learning that I got out of it, that I understand the value of it, in this whole planning process. And so I think it's important for us, as we are busy with some of these projects and events, to really pause and reflect and take the time to see how we can include others, especially the younger adults, so that they could learn, they could bring in a fresh perspective as well, and they could really work together with the adults to collaborate and learn and grow. And I think that to me was a very nice reminder on how things can be done, so that you can take everybody forward in whatever we are doing. So this again, Swami had, I think there are numerous examples where, whenever I am in my comfort zone, Swami finds a way to push me a little further, to nudge me a little further so that I can get out of my comfort zone. And wanted to just narrate something that happened earlier this year. This was May of 2021. And it was the peak time where the pandemic was really bad in India. And my husband and I were just talking about it, and we were looking at the news, watching the news. We heard from friends and family how things were in India. And we felt very helpless and anxious, and we didn't know what to do. And we knew that we had a privilege because we had already gotten our first shot and we were scheduled to get our second shot. And I was just talking to Swami, and I told him that I'm not a doctor. I don't know how I can really be helpful here. But Swami, you know the skills that I possess, and please show me some way to get involved here and to be of some help. So my husband and I were just talking about it, and the default usually is, that the Sai Center may have planned something. So he asked me, why don't you contact your youth friends in Bangalore? And soon enough, my friend told me that there were a group of students, Swami students, alumni from the institute, who had come together to put a COVID helpline. And the purpose of the helpline was to assist the families of patients who were suffering from COVID. And at that point, there were a lot of government helplines in Bangalore, and there was a process. When you belong to a particular area in the city, there was a specific helpline that you were supposed to call if for availability of beds and other resources. So this group from Sai Krishna Charitable Trust, they had set up their own helpline. It was mainly from volunteers, and they would assist the families to get to the right information at the right time, because those times are really stressful for families as well, and they don't know who to call and what do you do in case of emergencies, how do you get ambulances and other resources and things like that. So my husband and I started getting involved, and we were really trying to understand how can we from US really help in this seva, because by the time we got involved, things were really getting aggressive, because they knew that the peak was expected in a week, and they were really busy to double down on volunteers, and they were trying to see how to scale, and a lot of effort was going on. So after talking to the volunteers and coordinators and just observing what was happening, we realized that there was a need to form a back-end team that could actually help the call volunteers, so that we can organize the data a little better, and so that we can streamline the process and scale it a little better. So what we ended up doing was we took the data that was coming in from the calls, and we found a way to format this message and post it on the volunteer group, a WhatsApp group, so that the person who's going to return the call to the families could actually get all the information in the right way, so that they don't have to spend more time trying to research on, which helpline are this family supposed to call and things like that. So we did that. We did the formatting, and then we formed a group of back-end volunteers who could actually track these requests and help the call volunteers, so that you can tell them who needs to be contacted. And similarly, as the call volunteers would update the status of a message, we would actually update it in the Excel, so that we can track who has been contacted, do we need to get additional help to this family, and so on and so forth. And when we started getting involved, we knew that we would need more volunteers. So we spread the word to our friends and families. And within a day or two, we were able to get almost 60 volunteers from across the US who said that they would like to help in some way. And that's how this all came together. We trained volunteers. We had 2-hour slots for almost 20 hours a day for about 7 to 10 days, where we all came together and worked together to support the helpline in this way, so that the families could be helped. The learning from here is, at that moment when there was a time of need, nothing else mattered. The geographies did not matter. The time zones did not matter. It did not matter what professions we came from. It did not matter whether somebody had a PhD or somebody had just started their career. We had those who were 18-year-old to 60-year-old, and the complete focus was on helping the families that were impacted. This quote of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family, really materialized through that experience, at least for me. And it was just beautiful how Swami worked through all the volunteers to actually get help. And there were certain cases where there were certain days where there was no single bed availability in Bangalore. And all these volunteers really came together to see how they can comfort these families, even if we were not able to help them in any other way, just through some compassionate and kind words. So this again was another example of where going out of the comfort zone and trying to see how to help, even though it was not very evident. I think Swami showed us the way on how to go forward. And then that whole experience gave us that whole experience, it was such an impactful one for us that we will definitely take forward for the rest of our lives. Talking about comfort, I think in the Sai community, our comfort is our altar, our Sai centers, our sisters and brothers in the community. One initiative that we started this year is called the Insider Lens. I think many of you have actually been watching it and following it every Friday. This is a series where the young adults are leading it and collaborating with some of the other wings. And each episode we focus on a city where we try to look at the deeper aspects of the city, some of the spiritual significance, the specialities and of the local culture. And this has been a very wonderful experience for the young adults. It's become an exercise where we get to really understand and look at everything with the spiritual context and get a deeper understanding of the city that we live in, the culture that we live in here in the US, the land that we live in. And this again has, opened up and expanded, forced us to expand our thinking on how Swami's message is relevant to wherever we are, whatever profession we are in, and the people that we live with in the community. This was one of the episodes from last Friday, and hope that you can continue to watch some of these series. This will go on till December 24th, hoping that you can join for some of these series as well. One other thing that I just wanted to highlight is the USA Young Adults. We formed a service task force earlier this year in August. And the purpose of this task force is to look at a holistic approach to understand some of the aspects of two important problems that US currently faces. One is child hunger and one is homelessness. So both these aspects, I think some of them, it might be surprising that a developed country like US is facing issues with child hunger. But as we started looking at this topic, we realized that there is so much that needs to be done. There are almost 17 million children who live in food insecure homes, and a lot of them depend on the meals that are given at schools only. So as we started looking into it, some of the young adults from across the regions, we came together to look at what exactly is happening, what is the problem, how is it, is there any work that is already being done within our Sai community so that we can use that knowledge and then actually apply it elsewhere across the US. So this is one effort that is ongoing currently. And even with homelessness, I think a lot of our centers are doing good work, providing food for shelters and maybe clothing. And we wanted to push ourselves a little more, get out of our comfort zone and look at what are the other things that people who are in the state might benefit from. It could be hygiene and sanitary facilities, or it could be some medical need, some safekeeping and personal security or privacy issues, to some advanced and more complex and challenging issues such as, what could we do so that they get better access to maybe banking services or communication technology, prepping them for job and things like that. So this is another initiative that is currently ongoing. There is a website for the YA Service Task Force, but if any one of you is interested in this, or you have the expertise to help and contribute on these topics, please do contact your service coordinator or your young adult coordinator, and they can put you in touch with the service task force as well. So with that, I just wanted to conclude here, but with a request, a call for all young adults that there are several opportunities that may come your way. Yes, time is limited. We all have a lot of things going on with school and work and life. And I think from my journey, at least from my experience, I think it's more important to make Swami your best friend and allow him to guide you, to guard you, and to show you the way on, and give you these opportunities to learn and grow and expand our thoughts and our mind. And I think that's when you can experience the real beauty of Swami's teachings. And at the same time, I think a call for all the loving adults in our centers to continue to understand and to really encourage our young adults. If you think about it, the Sai community is like our safety net. And this is the place where we can learn and grow. This is also the place where we can, fall and fail and, get back up and rise through the learnings that we have. So it's necessary for the support that, we all get from the community here, the adults, and working together with the young adults as well. And I think with this is a small prayer. This was a quote that I had read many years ago when I had just started understanding what Swami even meant. And over the years, I've reflected upon what this quote really means. And every time I look at it, I think it makes more sense, because there's so much that, when I reflect on things, I may not know what purpose Swami has for me in this life. I don't know what his plan is. And all I can pray is, Swami, Lord, may I always want for myself what you want for me. And with this prayer, I hope and I wish and I pray that Swami guides each one of us to enjoy his blessings and his grace throughout our life. May this birthday bring a lot of awareness and awaken us from within, and may we always feel his presence through us, through this journey of life. I want to thank the center office bearers as well as Brother Krishna, who contacted me to come and speak with you all today. And really want to thank you all for joining in today and for this opportunity that Swami has given us to really cherish his learnings and his special blessings for us. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Sister Padma Shri. Thank you so much for the amazing prayer. It's heart-touching. Your realization that you're here for a bigger reason reinforces Swami's words that we are all his messengers, and we need to carry forward his message, his love and his work. And yes, when we say yes to Swami, he encourages us and he pushes us to grow spiritually, and he provides us with opportunities and avenues where we can be part of his work. It's amazing. Thank you. And your journey as an young adult carrying the values and the message of Swami is of great inspiration to all the younger generation. Your immense involvement in the organization shows your love and your dedication and your commitment to Swami. Thank you, sister. You're such a role model for all this younger generation. Thank you.